Do you know the Pat Tillman story? The story about how he gave up a $3.6 million contract to go protect our freedoms in Afghanistan, where he eventually succumbed to death. Well, at least that's how the story goes. And the story is littered with conspiracy all over it. But I'm here to talk to you about a conspiracy they don't want you to know about. Because there's one thing you probably don't know about, and that's that they create conspiracy on top of conspiracy on top of conspiracy. So you, even if you dig, never get to the real truth. The one I'm going to tell you about. Let me first tell you what they say. First, it was the military claimed that Tillman's death was the result of exchange with hostile forces. But in the end, it came out that it was friendly fire, that he was accidentally killed by his own troops. But see, that's where they want you stuck. They want you in the weeds about who did it, the Afghans or the Americans. When the truth is, he didn't really die at all. No, the real truth is he took a few years off and then just switched sports. And I'll show you what I mean. You see, part of the reason that I'm the fittest flat earther is because I've trained in a style called CrossFit for the past 15 years, and I've been a little obsessed. It's why I can lift heavy weights and also do acrobatic things like walk 100 feet on my hands, and also why I'm able to do cardio too. Because in CrossFit, they test everything: strength, cardio, and gymnastics ability, and they just happen to have a competition to see who's the best at it in the world. It's called the CrossFit Games. And while not only am I an athlete, but I'm also a fan of the top athletes. Well, at least I used to be. And well, one of the top athletes in the game just happens to be Josh Bridges, a supposed Navy SEAL who is most famous for winning this event, which was dedicated to a armed forces soldier who lost his life. Dedicated to an armed forces soldier who lost his life. And well, he and Pat just happened to look an awful lot alike. An awful lot alike. So much so that when you do a side-by-side of their faces, you can really hardly tell a difference other than the facial hair and maybe a little bit of making pretty of his eyes. And well, they always like to tell us somehow, some way, so I thought maybe they would do it in their numbers, because Pat was 40 in the NFL, but Josh was 36 in the CrossFit Games. But then I happened to remember that number that Pat gave up in that juicy NFL contract. $3.6 million. What an astounding coincidence. Oh, and that's supposedly Pat, and so is that, and that's supposedly Josh, and so is that. Funny how they both like that backwards hat look. And again, when you split the faces, you can hardly tell those are supposedly two different people. But Pat's legacy was honesty, so I couldn't possibly be barking up the right tree here. And well, remember how I said they like to tell us? Well, Josh Bridges owns a coffee company called Good Dudes Coffee, and they were honored to help support the Pat Tillman Foundation. Well, you know what a good dude is to me? It's someone that doesn't lie to millions, if not billions of people, and make them feel sorry for you and your family for a complete and total lie. And people will come at me and say, but their heights are different. Pat is 5'11" and Josh is only 5'5". Well, I went and did some research on that, and here's Pat supposedly next to some ASU teammates. And you can look at the stats here, but this guy's supposedly 6'3". I don't know about you, but that doesn't look like 6'3" and 5'11", and that doesn't look like 6'5" and 5'11". That looks like about 5'6" and 6'5". There's a full foot there, so you do the math, and you can look at that further. But we've heard a lot from me. Let's hear from them and see what they have to say, and pay attention to how they talk.
Even as athletes, we bitch and moan every now and again about this or that. And if we ever just, times like this, you stop and think about just how, not only how good we have it, but what kind of a system we live under, what freedoms we're allowed. And that wasn't built overnight. And it's kind of, the flag is a symbol of all that, a symbol of, my great-grandfather was at Pearl Harbor, and a lot of my family has given up, has gone and fought in wars. And I really haven't done a damn thing. As far as laying myself on the line like that. And so I have a great deal of respect for those that have and what the flag stands for.
This is where I want to be. So my mindset was like, they're not going to do anything that's going to ever make me quit. Like, there's no way. Like, I'll die. I'll die before I quit.
As far as laying myself on the line like that, and so I have a great deal of respect for those that have and what the flag stands for.
Funny how both interviews end like that, and like this. And don't worry, you know I come packing heat, and not their type of heat. I don't fight with guns. I fight with my mind and my eyes. And here it comes. I also fight on the side of good and truth and God. And I don't think they're fighting on that side. And it's funny, I have a little burn like that too. It was from bacon grease. And I know that he eats a lot of bacon. But Pat has a very specific mole that I had a hard time finding. But finally, I found what looks like a scar in that exact same place. What are the odds? What are the odds that they look alike and pose alike and really look alike and have exact facial and abdomen markings? Oh, and just happen to celebrate identically to each other, even with a little fist pump. Must be coincidence. That's what we're dealing with here. I figured it out. Just a series of major coincidences. Our government would never lie to us to this extent. No. And CrossFit is a really established, truthful, athletic community. They would never be part of any sort of fake death. Maybe everyone should go pay Josh a visit on his account and ask him why he looks so much like Pat Tillman and why they share that same birthmark on the cheek and on the hip, and why they look so much alike in pictures and move alike and talk alike. I think it'd be nice if people went and go visited this good dude and asked some questions. I think that'd be a good idea. Oh, and of course, all this is for entertainment purposes. I'm not at all trying to just out these outright liars and deceivers and fake heroes. Fake heroes that do everything they can to get you to worship them instead of the Heavenly Father. Because in the end, that's the end game of all of these deceivers. To do everything they can to divert your attention away from what's truly important and what's truly important. You want to know what this good dude really thinks of you?
Fuck you. If I listen to...
Oh, and one last thing. I told him, I know who you are, dog. I sent him a little message. Kind of curious to see what he'd have to say. And he hearted it. Probably thinking, oh, I'm a good dude. I'll keep his secret, until I said I'd be happy to tag him in my video exposing him. And then all of a sudden, he blocked me. Like I said a minute ago, though, this is just for entertainment purposes. I'm a satire account, and this is just my opinion to entertain the masses. I don't really think they would do anything so diabolical. No. Entertainment only.